don't forget, it ain't the first 48 with 60 minutes.
Come with the king, best not miss. Even the score now, we need to score now. Back on that wall, when you hear that call, you know it's going down. We play from beginning to ending, you know how we finish. Turn to the bank, gotta handle our business. We need the ball, so it's time to go get it. Play with your heart when you hit, make it cool. You know I'm with. You come to the bank and get out of line, we sending a blitz. Say who you with? You know I'm with. That purple and black, and when we attack, you know what it is.
You're now locked into Zone 32.
Oh shit, here you go again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another spin-off episode of the Zone 32 podcast. My name is Jake. His name is Drew. We got time, but I just want to jump into it anyway. So, not much Ravens news has gone on other than they're in the works of talking to George Fant, the swing tackle formerly of the Seahawks, about a potential deal. He's narrowing down his choices.
What is he doing with his life? I read something about like turning college basketball players into football players. I don't fully grasp what his existence in society is or why we want him to play football for us. But
good question. That being said, I'm guessing he's convincing the 6'3" power forwards to be like, hey, basketball you're not going to be Draymond Green. This is not your future. Go play football. Be
right,
Antonio Gates.
Yeah, so you had, and Jimmy Graham, I think, was a basketball player too. So you have two successful.
Tony Gonzalez, Jason Peters. There's been a few.
Yeah, but I thought that Jason Peters and Tony Gonzalez were also football players. I could be wrong. I think that they weren't just like coming out of basketball and going straight to football. But
oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like we need a swing tackle, so I'm fine with him. You know, I guess signing here. I'm sure he won't cost any money at all. It was a random name that came across the feed that I was like, why is Jeff Strubeck saying that this guy is working out for us today? I don't know. I mean, I assume we're targeting guys in the draft too. I was a little bit upset to read that we had that Simmons guy in from Ohio State.
The suck guy.
Yeah, I hate Ohio State, but I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, it's a guy, so I guess we can bring him in. The George Fant story just kind of came out of nowhere, though. I was not expecting us to do anything free agency wise either, so it just kind of double hit me that we have this random guy in, and why are we signing a free agent, or why are we even looking to sign a free agent?
Man, it's more depth type of shit because they're going to use the draft to actually address certain positions, or at least attempt to, depending on how the board falls. But I mean, we already talked about it. I fully anticipate them taking two edges.
So how long should I keep Grant backstage? He's I have the authority. I have the authority to let him on air or not let him on air. I'm gonna put him on air.
Take me off air then, bitch.
I was gonna say before you let him on air, I would have needed you to make him acknowledge birds are not real.
Before we move forward with anything else, I do want to address. So I showed up late to last podcast, and I said verbatim something that you said I would say. Like it was something about a Jabbo, but you literally said like verbatim. Drew, if Drew was here, he would say this, and then when I came on, I think I said it word for word. I was not listening, so I just want the listeners to understand.
Hey, that was not rehearsed at all. And Grant came in here with a cock on his hat. Godspeed.
I'm a dickhead.
Grant's I say Grant's a big BBC guy, as we learned last year. So
I can't find my headphones, so I don't know if I sound any different.
You sound like you have been taking a lot of BBCs in your mouth, and
I don't have a voice. I don't.
Yeah. That was more what stood out to me now that you didn't have a mic.
I yelled a lot at our game on Saturday.
Happens like that.
Yeah, you got to keep the children in line. So
no, this was the adults.
Oh, this is the adults that you were yelling about. It's even.
Well, there you go.
Well, not really adults, are they? I mean, they're like kind of adults.
No, this is my playing.
Oh, this is your Jim Morris, or whatever the fuck that movie, the Disney movie, was based on.
Yeah. That's my moment. They're all freaking in their 20s, early 30s. I'm like, man, I'm so done. I had a good game. I had a 65-yard punt return for a touchdown.
Okay,
I went back to
I
block it. Huh?
know we've asked this before. I don't know if we'll get an honest answer. Like, is this like they're like, oh, we got to let the old guy score. Like, we feel bad for him. Like, kind of situation.
I broke 3 tackles. Well, so like, I'm a linebacker, but they had just faked it and they went like 2x2 on the punt. And I was like, well, I'm going to protect the seam. So I backed up like 15 yards and like was almost like safety position. And then I was going to lead block for the punter or the punt returner. And it like was sky high. And so I was backing up. I was trying to get away and it bounced right at me. So it was I either take it off the chest or I catch it and run. And I caught it, saw a lane and broke 2-3 tackles and I was gone. And I was like, holy shit, old man still gets busy.
Is there a video of this somewhere?
Yeah, I have it.
I feel like we need to do a, I mean, again, there's not a ton happening football-wise for us until the draft. So I feel like maybe next week we do a Grant film review.
Right.
I wish there was more. It's only like, so you see me like field it, break the tackles, and I'm going on the sidelines and all the players like kind of get in the way of the camera. So you can just see like people running down the sideline.
So is this like the Will Chamberlain 100-point game? Like it never actually happened, but there's like some small evidence.
I wish they had better video because I jumped from the 3-yard line and did a front flip in the end zone because I was all by myself.
Yeah, I can jump and do a front flip from the 3-yard line too.
I didn't land on my feet. I did like the tuck and roll.
Of course. Again, not on video, so I don't know how much I trust this, but I feel like if we do like a Grant film review, but we're not going to say it's you, like we'll break it down to some draft prospect. See if we can.
I smacked the running back in the backfield, and the ball went flying in there. So I had a forced fumble too, but I don't. There's no film of that.
Yeah, see, like we could pitch you as that UCLA kid that they just had in for the workout. And pretend that was you.
People are on his fucking nuts. I mean, I think he's good, but man, first round would be insane if he goes in the first round.
We also don't typically draft kids that we bring in for those workouts. So just like as a general rule of thumb, for whatever reason, I feel like we like bring guys in that are borderline on our draft board and then use it to like eliminate them rather than draft them. So I don't think he's actually coming here. I am interested to know their theory behind wanting another inside linebacker. I mean, I understand Trenton Simpson was not good last year, but
he would be so good, but he just doesn't have any football IQ whatsoever. Like he doesn't understand spacing, where his drops are supposed to be to how to close on certain angles. Like he just doesn't seem to have any football IQ.
Well, I mean, so you remember young Patrick Queen. I feel like he had a lot of the same, I don't know, issues is the right word, but that he was like almost too athletic for his own good. So he would overrun plays and he would, frequently find himself out of position because he was almost too quick and like anticipating too much. And it made him, do something stupid, for lack of a better term. I feel like I got a lot of those vibes from Trent Simpson.
Yeah. And guys like those two, they suck at getting off blocks too.
Yeah. Simpson shouldn't, though. I mean, at least Queen had I don't know if excuse is the right word. He was not a big guy, you know what I mean? Whereas Trent Simpson's like 6'3", 6'4".
He's pretty rocked up.
Yeah, pretty big stacked guy. He should not be getting stonewalled at the line of scrimmage the way that he does, but he does. So
he kind of looks. I don't know. Yeah, I thought he was gonna have a really good year.
Yeah, I mean, so he looked really good at the end of 2023. The limited chances that he got, I think he played week 16 and week 17 last year, or 2 years ago. And just, I don't know, did not look like the same guy this year.
I really wanted to bring Chris Board back.
Well, he was. I think we were all talking about him in like the end of the season episode. And we're like, this is a guy that you'd love to bring back for the right contract, but he got paid, and I'm sure he got. I don't know if like playing time guarantees is the right word, but like we weren't going to play him, so we weren't going to guarantee him playing time. We weren't going to pay him a ton of money. So I get why he left, but it leaves holes in your team because you're now trusting Trenton Simpson or a rookie to come in and really, shoulder that load. And I don't know if they are capable of it, which is concerning.
Unless they're, I know they're pretty high on Welch. So, I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Welch is another one, like special teams guy who's going to do what you ask of him. But I don't know if he's got the physical capability to really be like an impact at your second linebacker.
Yeah, no.
Because the reality is that you need somebody else next to Roquan who's going to, I guess make downhill plays is the best way to put it, is that you can't have Roquan responsible for playing downhill and also playing behind him. Like he's a middle linebacker for a reason. He's not a, coverage guy to that extent.
That's where Nick Corey comes in because you can add a third safety on the field.
I am totally out on drafting him. I know it seems to be the unpopular opinion, but I have no interest in drafting a safety in the first round. I think
I'm
Watts.
Okay with it. I'm okay with it if it's. I like Watts a lot. Like, do I think he should go at 27? No, but if he did, I wouldn't be like pissed.
Yeah, see, I'd be. Well, I guess it also depends on who's on the board too. That's the other thing with this draft is I feel like there's a lot of somebody's going to fall, and logic would dictate that it would be a safety. But I don't want a safety, which kind of like, kills what we get and what we, who we take. I'm very heavily in on building the trenches. I think that is, we've made football so complicated and so convoluted as like a fan base of, looking at outside guys and corners and wide receivers and all this shit. Like it's really simple. You got to be able to block, 5 guys and stop somebody from hitting your quarterback, and you have to be able to get to the quarterback rushing for. And we don't really have the pieces to do that as our team is currently built. And I think we need to acquire those pieces, and the draft is the only way we're going to acquire those pieces.
Yeah. I would be surprised. I don't know. Like maybe I give EDC too much credit, but I really don't have any worries. I feel like I'm going to be happy with whoever he takes at 27, just based off of the depth of the positions that we need.
Yeah, I just feel like if we pass up on a pass rusher, I'm going to not be happy with the pick. Doesn't mean that it's going to be the wrong pick. I'll probably look like an asshole for it at some point. But, that's just –
I don't want like a Shamar Stewart or a Nick Scorton or somebody like that at 27, though. Like I feel like they're more like second-round guys.
Well, they're more projects. So, like, I get what you're saying. You want a guy that's going to come in and make an immediate impact, and I don't think that's either one of those guys.
No, at 27, there's only 3 pass rushers with 2.5 that I'd be okay with, and that's Mike Green, Donovan, and James Pierce. But two of them
is Pierce that impact guy for you? He's the one that I'm like, I'm not fully in on.
He does. He's. Well, I'm going to get into it because I did edge rushers today, but I like him. He's long and he knows how to use his length, but he can also close on a pass rush really well. He gives me he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'6", 6'5", something like that. But he gives me like Alden Smith, like Arden Key type vibes, but more of like an ability to run defend. Like he's an elite run defender.
See, he gives me Odafe Owe vibes because he can't finish the quarterback off. Like the amount of plays that I've seen of him of just like getting in the backfield, makes a great move to beat his guy, and then cannot finish the sack, just infuriating. Which is why I think he was a Raven. That was the first guy that I tweeted that like the Ravens are going to take him at 27 because that seems to be what we value is guys who can pressure the quarterback but can't actually bring him down.
And I really like Landon Jackson too from Arkansas.
Yeah, so he's more of a second-round guy, right?
Yeah, but he's a guy that guys could like fall in love with, and he could go late first round. He's like the high motor, like he's like 6'7", like 280 or 275, some shit like that. But he like doesn't play like he plays athletic, and he's like a dominant like bully mindset. Like I would say of all the pass rushers outside of Abdul Carter, obviously, he's probably got the biggest like dog mindset of where he's just going to whip your ass every single play.
Which we need. We don't have that.
I mean, he only had like 6.5 or 7 sacks last year, but it showed up more than that. And that's one of the things I didn't like about Shamar Stewart is he's dominant in the run game and he has great like abilities to fill gaps in the trenches, but he only had 1.5 sacks last year, and that's concerning to me. We need people that can finish.
A&M also kind of fucked him and Scroton over with the way that they sort of like used them last year. I know that that's been a big discussion point around them is that to ignore the stats and that they're better than the stat sheet shows because they switch up the scheme completely at A&M. I don't know how true that is. I didn't watch a ton of Texas A&M football, to be honest.
I can see that. Like the way that like they use them, I think that they use them backwards. And so
right, that's pretty much what the problem is it's all the draft people are saying that. And so I get afraid when all the draft people agree on something because that usually means it ends up being wrong.
Yeah.
Like it was like Trent Richardson's a can't miss prospect, and then he turns out that he can't read, holes in the defense, and it's just fucking terrible. So, yeah. I mean, that guy was just a different level. I don't know if we want to get into Grant's list now, or if we want to get into Jake's and my conspiracy hour.
Let's wait for let's let the conspiracy hour finish the show. We'll
right.
let it get off the rails after that.
Turn into a conspiracy month, to be honest with the two of us, and then Grant here to just kind of like add color commentary to our conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Fucking right. Yep, always. Well, anyway, Grant's BDSM list. You're doing edge rushers this week, correct?
Yes.
This is where typically if Will was here, him and I would manufacture something to argue about, but there's just not anything. The Ravens are now like there's no Lamar contract. You know what I mean? He's locked up. There's no real huge hole at wide receiver. Like we have Zay and then we have Bateman and Hopkins, which I feel like one of those two is going to end up being a good wide receiver too. We have Derrick Henry.
Maybe Derrick Henry's contract.
Yeah, but like he's here next year regardless. So like it doesn't really factor into next year. I mean, I don't know why the Ravens love Flaley, but they're clearly committed to him. So like why even fight it at this point? Like I just hope that we find somebody in the draft that just blows Harbaugh's socks off, and then
I want Wyatt bad. If he's there in the second round, we better run to the fucking board. I just don't want to keep him the first.
I want Ratledge.
I like the mullet. I like him too.
Well, to be fair, Flaley is in the last year of his rookie deal, so I mean, either he gets extended or he plays out this year, and then maybe it's paid a fat contract.
If they extend him, I will lose my fucking mind.
The problem with Flaley is that he is good for a different team. Like in terms of, what he can do well, like he'd fit like a Greg Roman offense really well, but he does not fit what the Ravens want out of a guard.
No, he's not a guard at all. He's got no feet.
Right. Well, I mean, but again, like if you look at a Greg Roman offense, it's just kind of like block the guy in front of you and that's your job. You know what I mean? Like he's not like an intricate run scheme guy. He doesn't need him to pull and shit like that.
Outside zone.
Yeah. And so I feel like the problem with Flaley is that you get that one side of Twitter that's like he's like the worst player in the world and he sucks ass, and then you get the other side that's like, well, he made a Pro Bowl, and it's like he made a Pro Bowl because he does some things very well, and the issue is that he does some things so terrible, and they're things that we really need our right guard to be able to do.
I think I was shocked more when he got a Pro Bowl alternate than when Tyler Huntley got one.
Well, I mean, Tyler Huntley got one because people were like, oh, Baltimore quarterback, it's got to be Lamar. And they didn't even look at the name. Yeah. Guaranteed they were listed next to each other. And, some moron was just like, oh, Baltimore quarterback, yeah, Lamar, yeah, he's good. I'm going to put him in the Pro Bowl without even like thinking of who they were voting for.
Right in.
Yeah, I just, that was, the Flaley stuff is like, I've just kind of like, I've accepted the fact that John Harbaugh is going to start him, unless somebody comes in and takes his job. And so I hope we sign somebody that takes his job. I'm not holding my breath. And again, same thing with left guard. Like, I think that's Voorhees' job to lose, and I'd be okay with giving Voorhees a shot. He looked fine in small sample size last year, so, you know. And then defensively speaking, like, there's no corner to go get right now. That's a free agent. You can go get Jair, I guess, in a trade, but I don't think that that's like a, you know, going to happen imminently. I think that's more of like a draft night
I
deal.
would
So
not be shocked if we went corner at 27.
I'd be very, again, if we take secondary at 27, I think I'm going to be pissed off.
Depends who's there. Depends what corner's there. If you got like a Maxwell Harrison there at 27, like you don't even think twice about it. I don't think he
Right.
makes it there, but
That's the thing, is that the corners that I'd be like, I don't want a corner, but if like you said, Harrison falls, fine. Like, I'm not gonna be upset at that. Like, that's a player that shouldn't have been there at 27. And sell myself on it that way. I think the corners that will be there at 27. The kid from fucking Texas that everybody drools over, Jaron or something like that.
yeah, he won the Maxwell.
Yeah, but I want no part of him. Like, I don't think he's really that good. I don't think he's terrible either, but like, that's like a guy that if we took him in the second round, I'd be like, oh, great pick. But at 27, I don't really want him.
There's a guy like third, fourth round guys that I think that like I really like Za Frazier a lot from UTSA. He's gonna be a dude.
And I like that. That's his name, Melo Dotson. He's the one from Kansas.
I like both of them, him and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, and so both him and Kobe Bryant are, you know, 5th, 6th round guys, maybe 4th round guys.
Yeah.
We got a ton of picks around there, and I feel like, you know, we could walk away with one of them, and I'd be okay with that. I'd rather do that than take somebody at 27. But yeah, we're struggling for football topics here because there's nothing going on.
Mhm. Well, at least it won't be a long show.
Anyway, in that case,
Yeah, we got the Grant. We got
It's all
the Grant
you.
list. I'm sure,
It's your
and I can
list.
fight about that. And then Jake and I have some topics to cover.
Yep.
The suspense is killing us, Grant. Is this a fucking bit? Am I missing something there?
Oh no.
I just said, what's your list? I think I
Yeah.
might have frozen whenever I said that to you because your screen was just sitting there for a second. I'm like,
No, I think Grant has like totally spixed out here. Grant, are you going to give us your edge rusher list?
yes.
Is the list real? Is
Yeah.
this like the Epstein? Is this like the Epstein list that it's going to release at some point, but not actually going to release?
And everything will be redacted.
Yeah.
So this week going over edge rushers, the edge rankings. I think this is a deep, deep class. I think that you can find guys in mid rounds that are going to be solid contributors their first year. I'll go through 10 down to 1, and then I'll do some of the honorable mention and then the mid-round guys that I like. 10, I've got Kyle Kennard, South Carolina. I'm higher than him than a lot of people. I think he's got a lot of ability to be an effective pass rusher in the backfield. He's 6'5", 255, 260, but he doesn't play that way. Plays very athletic, very high IQ, great run defender. He can manipulate a lot of offensive linemen with his pass rush moves. And I have a note on him as a physical closer. He's very aggressive at the point of attack with linemen. He sets up the linemen well to be able to shed and stack. I've got him at 10. 9.
If I told you the Ravens were also high on him, would that lower your ranking on him?
No, I mean, I like him a lot, and there's other guys that I think might. It's hard to tell. I mean, this is a really tight class. Like 6 through 10, like could be really subjective. It's really on preference. But I would say that I would think that the Ravens would be high on him because the abilities that he shows off the edge and the things that he can do off the edge and dominate at seems like somebody that Chuck Smith would be like drooling over and be like, what I can do with this guy is like next level.
About as close to like 100% positive as I can be. They are in love with him. The amount of people who have said that to me makes me think that it's real, but I guess there's that 1% chance that everybody just is getting fed bullshit by the Ravens. But I think that they are really interested in him. I don't know if that would be a second round pick or a third round pick in their book, but they are very interested in having him on the team. So
9, I have Princely Umamillion from Ole Miss. He had a really good Senior Bowl. They did a lot of, the half line stuff and the one-on-ones, and he was really dominant. He was pretty dominant in the game too. I think he's got a lot to offer. He has a more explosive first step than it looks like essentially sometimes because he slow plays a lot of things, and he's very good at setting the edge. I feel like that he's very disciplined in misdirection as well. Like if there's RPOs, counters, stuff like that. I feel like he's very disciplined on the backside and is able to close down the line on that. 8, I have Nick Scorton, Texas A&M. I have a note on him. He has active and physical hands, plays with a lot of power. He's one with Shamar Stewart, their teammates. Like we said earlier, I feel like they use them almost in reverse of what their skill sets utilize, but it's really down to preference. If I could really overthink the list, I might put him ahead of Shamar Stewart just because of what he can do dominant-wise when setting the edge. And he plays with a whistle. Like he doesn't quit till the end of the play. He tracks, chases well. He does a lot of things, just doesn't, kind of watch the play. 7, I have Shamar Stewart, his teammate, Texas A&M, big-bodied, 6'6", 290. He's a large individual. A lot of things, like I said earlier, knock on him is just not finishing. A sack and a half last year. I feel like that there needs to be more production in that. And, especially with the Ravens, somebody that they essentially, I would think they'd be looking for would be somebody that can finish, especially with all the lack of pressure that we've had with the 4-man pressures, as well as like the development of the younger guys or even getting them on the field. 6, I have Landon Jackson, Arkansas. Like I said earlier, I'm really big on him. He's another big guy. He's 6'7", about 280. He plays with controlled chaos. He's very aggressive. He's that guy he's going to outwork you or try to outwork you. He's going to literally, it's going to be a fight every play to try to block him. So, he's a guy that can be very disruptive in a lot of aspects of the game. 5, I have Mikel Williams from Georgia. A lot of people have him, top 3 consistently. But, they're the 4 I have in front of him. I just like what they bring to the table a little bit more. But he's got great size. He excels at edge leverage. He's very, very good in the run game. He plays long, uses his length well. But he's a guy that, I think could go anywhere from the teens to late first round. It really depends on team needs, how the defensive line room really values him and his skill set. 4, I have James Pierce Jr. He's a guy that we've talked about before. Long, plays physical, has a real good set of pass rush moves, can work back inside really well, knows how to kind of set up different hand moves and be able to be physical with his hands in a sense, and he closes quick. When he gets a line, he closes quick on, whether it's a ball carrier or quarterback. 3, one of my favorites in the draft, Donovan Uzaraku from Boston College. His only, I guess, quote-unquote knock is his size. He's 6'2", so, a lot of people get obsessed with that, which I don't think it matters at all. You got guys like Dumerville, who was, 5'10", 5'11", and was dominant. But I think that what he brings, his pass rush toolbox is probably the best as far as, hand moves, spin moves, rips. He knows how to set up his pass rush moves. Production, he finished last year with 16.5 sacks. No matter
and
what,
would you say that the production has kind of beat the size allegations with him?
I think
That's the
you have
thing
to look at that.
Yeah, with small guys, like you said, like Dumerville, yeah, if you just look at his measurables, like he's tiny, but it worked. Like he found a way to get to quarterbacks anyway. So
Well,
that's why
you have to kind of excel more at other things. And, between his pass rush tools, knowing how to use them, he's got insane bend. He's a tough one for a lot of tackles to get to because of his first step ability and the way that he can manipulate his body to kind of turn the corner. He runs the loop well on that, and, he closes quick on quarterbacks. So, I mean, he's a guy, wouldn't surprise me if he went, before 27. 2, Mike Green, super explosive, very physical. He had a great Senior Bowl. I mean, that's where he kind of opened a lot of eyes, especially that one-on-one drill when he dog walked Connerly. That's a guy that you're going to get a lot of production out of him. He's got some allegations. I don't know if I see the Ravens messing with that. I don't know. I didn't pay attention if it's something that got cleared or what this situation was.
you didn't see it? It got cleared?
No.
Mike Green cleared himself on it. So he put out a statement that said, I was not guilty of these. They got cleared. So don't worry about it.
Okay, good. Well, at least he can clear
I
that.
want him on the Ravens, so I'm going to take his word for
it. But he can beat you with power and speed. I definitely see him as a guy that if he gets in the right situation, he's a double-digit sack guy. And then number 1, Abdul Carter. He's the best player in the draft. Dominant. I mean, he's a guy that his value is going to be skyrocketed anyways, not only because of how good he is, but Micah Parsons is going to elevate him. And it's not because they went to the same school or anything like that, but they play very similar to where he can line up in different techniques. He can line up off ball. He's going to beat you with speed, power. He's a guy that you actually have to game plan for. And he's still going to get his. And, he hasn't played a whole lot of football, which to think about his production and his skill set is pretty insane. But he's a guy that's just, like I said, he's just a complete game changer, and you have to game plan for him. So, he's clear-cut number 1, and he should be the number 1 pick in the draft, but he's not going to be.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. If you're the Titans, I understand then, franchise quarterback, you have the number 1 overall pick. Your goal is to never pick number 1 overall again, so you're never going to have a shot at that again. I would still take Carter over Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward. I think he'll be a good NFL quarterback. I don't think he's better than Abdul Carter, though. And I think that if you bring in Carter, you're potentially bringing in a guy who alters your franchise. I don't know if Cam Ward alters the Titans. I don't think that.
They lost Landry, so they've got a massive hole there. And the way that I look at it is when you look at the team that is built around the Titans and the players, is Cam Ward going to really be that difference maker? Are you rostered enough to be able to have a great group around your rookie quarterback that's going to allow him to be successful? And I don't think they have that. And I think that a guy like Abdul Carter, which if you get a dominant tackle on the offensive line, you get a dominant pass rusher, somebody like that, especially those 2 positions, that's where you set your team. That's where you start to build your team within the trenches and people that are going to impact the game. And you get a guy like Abdul Carter, and you look at him, and every year there's a pass rusher that people are oh, he's generational, he's this, he's that, whatever. But you're not going to see a whole lot of Abdul Carters.
Yeah, and they don't need support either. So you don't need to put Abdul Carter on a team that has a strong backbone behind him or other guys on the defensive line. He'll, his presence will be known just by him being on the field. Whereas I feel like with quarterback, you have to have at least an offensive line in front of him, at the bare minimum. No quarterback is going to look good in the NFL if they have no time to throw the ball. Yeah. And I feel like you're setting Cam Ward up to almost be like a Bryce Young 2.0. People were calling Bryce Young a bust after year 1. The fucking Panthers were so bad. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback, but I also think that he looked significantly worse his rookie year because there was nothing around him. And you put some stuff around him this year, and he looked a little bit better. And I feel like he'll keep progressing and be a serviceable NFL quarterback. But I feel like you're putting Cam Ward in that same situation if the Titans take him. So I would take Carter personally.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Mikael Williams. You mentioned Mikael Williams as your fifth guy. I think he's probably the second or third pass rusher off the board. I don't necessarily disagree with where you put him, but I feel like that's a guy that goes early. The Georgia pedigree and the ability to play the run and also get to the quarterback. Yeah, I think that puts him above Green and Donovan on a lot of teams' boards.
Well, I mean, I think if you asked me like who, like the order they're going to be drafted, I would definitely say he's probably going to go to second or third out of the edge rushers.
Yeah. I also wouldn't mind him in Baltimore. I think he'd be a very good fit here. I also don't think that he's anybody that's in play for us, though. Like, I just don't think he's there in 27.
I don't either. Then I just wrote down some names. I mean, like I said, it's a pretty deep draft, but like, I mean, you got guys that are going to be their second, third, fourth, fifth round. But like, I'm going to hammer off some names. But Brady Swenson, Jack Sawyer, Josiah Stewart, Jared Ivey, JT Tuimalu, Ashton Gillette from Louisville, David Walker from Central Arkansas, Kamen Rucker, Antoine Powell-Ryland. He had 16 sacks last year. And then one of my other favorite edge rushers, Ja Joyner. I could see him going probably third or fourth round. I mean, if he went fifth, I wouldn't be shocked, but also wouldn't be shocked at the same time. But Ja Joyner is a very underrated name, and that dude can play.
So I was going to ask you about Josiah Stewart. Again, just small guy, not a ton of tape on him at edge because he really only played it last year. I don't know. You know, I love hyping up Michigan guys and having them come to the Ravens. I don't know if I would want him here.
He's a project.
Right, he's a project, and I feel like he'd get kind of thrown out there and forced into a situation that doesn't really, you know, help his development. Jack Sawyer seems like a long-lost Bosa brother, so I don't know. If he didn't play for Ohio State, I'd probably want him in Baltimore, but again, I don't really like Ohio State guys.
I mean, I think he's much better than JT, but because JT, if I remember correctly, he's got a lot of like lower leg injury issues. Like
the thing with JT is that so when he was a freshman, I think it was, he had like a crazy year. You know, had a run there where he was just making a crazy highlight play every week, and then you just don't see much of him. He has like Judon vibes to me, where he can have a game where he's like dominant, and you're like, holy fuck, this guy's good, and then he just goes missing for weeks on end. Which is the exact opposite of really what any NFL team wants out of a player. Like they want a consistent effort from week to week. They don't want a flashy 3 weeks a year and then a vacation 14 other weeks, which I feel like is what you're going to get out of him.
It's just this is definitely a draft where like I would be absolutely shocked if the Ravens didn't take a pass rusher in the first 3 rounds, and there's a lot of talent there that I think is going to be available.
Also, the narrative I'm pushing this year is so we drafted Adisa Isaac in the 3rd round last year and barely played, so we basically got another 3rd round pick this year. So we took a pass rusher in the 3rd round. So that's we're already off on a good start. It's David Ojabo, Defensive Player of the Year, and then Adisa Isaac is going to be Comeback Player of the Year. That's got to be what we roll with as a podcast, I think.
Got to see something.
All right, Jake, I think it's our time to shine. We have about, I don't know. We're not going to cap this. Nope. I guess it's not Jake's my time to shine.
Sure.
Government knew where we're going to go. I was just Jake's back. Thank God. Add to stage. So, Jake, you're already being silenced by big media.
That's right. I'm being silenced by big media, but they can't stop progress, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, conspiracy hours off to a hot start here.
Hey, man, the deep state, the one state with the white and the blue and the certain star, they're trying to infiltrate. I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, we can't say what they are out loud. Otherwise, we definitely get fucking. There'd be black SUVs at our front door real quick.
Plus, with me having blonde hair and blue eyes, that's a very bad look if I start talking like that.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just saying. Yeah, just can't get away with that. Just nope. Give them whatever they want. Trillions, billions, fucking fidget spinners, iPhones, whatever they ask for, just give it to them. Whatever.
That's fair.
That's
so
right.
I know you are very passionate about one conspiracy theory here. I want to challenge it. You think no birds are real?
Birds are not fucking real. They do not exist.
I agree with everything you say about pigeons. I've never seen a dead pigeon before. I've never seen a baby pigeon before. I've never seen a pigeon at night. So, if you told me that some, I don't know, CIA, FBI agent drives around every morning and just drops pigeons off in populated areas to surveil the public, and get behind that. I don't know about other birds, though. Like, I've seen a lot of dead birds on the road before. Why are government spy drones too stupid to know where glass is and fly into glass all the time? Shit like that.
There's a reason for it. The specific techs who work on those particular birds, they're the lower level, so they don't know what they're doing. They're like entry-level apprentices. So they'll fuck up their coding, and all of a sudden, birds just malfunctioning. It's like that Rick and Morty episode where Jerry sits on the bare basic where you have people just telling him yes or no matter what stupid idea he fucking puts out there. The simulation, that's what those people are. They're the lowest of low-level simulation techs that cause those birds to malfunction. Remember, it's not blood that comes out of there.
Training. So the real elite ones work the pigeons, and then the new guys work the other birds. Is that your theory on this?
It's exactly right. And then the secret of the secret sect of the CIA or whoever is actually behind all this, that's where they get to work on the cool birds, whether it's a crow or a raven or whatever. Ducks, which have a very fatal flaw, which don't understand why their programmers program them with a rape chip, because apparently they are serial rapists. They try to rape other cameras, and it's very bizarre to hear about. So
are chickens birds in your simulation here?
Yes, but those camera bits are delicious.
I mean, if you think about it,
that's at least not toxic for you.
If you think about it, chickens are too good to be true. I
Yes.
mean, they can't fly, so you can domesticate them really easily. Chicken tastes great, so again, you grow them. They don't really eat much. When people raise cows, they complain about how much cow food costs, but chickens just eat grass and shit off the ground. And
Plus
then
all the farting and the shit in the air from the methane gas exuded from cows' assholes. I mean,
yeah, and then on top
not
of that,
ideal.
chickens just push out a full meal, couple times a month. They lay eggs.
Fucking right.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
I feel I'd actually buy chickens being some kind of fake government spy drone before I'd buy some other birds, because chickens are too useful. It's suspicious, but they're that useful.
There's more to chickens than just being birds, definitely. Because one, they shouldn't taste that good. Two, they shouldn't be able to offspring their period excrement the way they're able to. So all things considered,
honestly, think about that. They're they don't give birth, so they're going through their menstrual cycle, and somehow it produces this expensive breakfast that everybody has. What's the base of most foods? Most food is egg based. So
yep, exactly. Whether it be noodles,
I would have my eye out on chickens, to be honest, as being the government conspiracy theory here, and that the other bird conspiracy is just to draw the attention away from chickens. But
it's fucking
that's just me.
There are more to chickens than meet the eye, especially the fucking mega ultra chicken. He is legend.
Yeah, you and Grant are big they guys when you talk about they're doing this. Who is they? That's what I want to know. So
Same people who kill Kenny. Same people who kill Kenny every week. It's they.
But, it's got to be somebody. So who is it?
Well, it's a group of. It's a group or an agency that we are unaware of exactly the great details of what's inside of there, due to the knowledge of that being potentially deadly, or they just treat you like Alex Jones. So I mean, so that's why I say they, because
there's just no way,
because they killed Kenny and they're bastards.
Don't homeless people eat pigeons though?
Well, what the fuck else are they gonna eat? They're gonna eat. Everybody gonna eat something, so we'll eat cameras.
I don't know. Have you ever tried to catch a pigeon before? I've seen a lot of homeless people in Boston. Again, there's a
homeless people smoke crystal meth. So what the fuck else is they're another sound mind and sound body. They'll probably eat a boot if you give them a boot.
They're more opiate people, and there's no shot they're catching a pigeon. I don't believe that they eat pigeons. I can't see that being a thing. Well, that's what they want you to believe, but I don't think
That's
so.
right.
Yeah, Grant's a big they guy too, but then every time I ask Grant who they is, he just tells me, "Oh, it's them." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. I understand the pronoun that you're using there, but I don't know who they are." I like
It's the
names.
same.
I like names and faces.
That same people who kill Kenny every week, and they're bastards.
Well, that's Matt Parker and Trey Stone. See, I put names and faces behind them. You know, they
Yeah,
kill
but
Kenny every week.
Hey, I'm just saying, Stan and Kyle don't say Matt and Trey killed Kenny. They say they killed Kenny. So
Oh yeah, because
that
they
doesn't.
killed Kenny is a lot quicker to roll off the tongue. But like if you say Matt and Trey killed Kenny, that doesn't sound as cool. So like
Right.
I understand. Why
Well, I mean, they
don't
did.
say it.
They did do Ozzy Osbourne bit Kenny's head off. They did do that.
Right, but who told Ozzy Osbourne to do that? It was Matt and Trey. They wrote the episode, and then they told their little animation team to draw it. So
That's
No,
my
those
understanding. My
those
understanding,
days
Ozzy was
exist.
really high, and he thought Kenny was a fake bat, so then he bit his head off and found out he was not a real bat or even a bat at all.
That's fair.
He
So
did that
I'm
before.
starting to think that Jake knows who they are and will not share with the Zone 32 audience.
That's information that would be liable to get somebody killed.
I mean, there's only
Or-
like 110 people
or-
watching right now, so I feel like we could just throw who they are. Maybe their social security numbers, their faces, their names, their addresses, and go from there.
Yeah, it's I think the main head of that organization, their Social Security, I think is what 530-02-3759.
That's probably a real person, and now we're gonna get sued. So way to go, Jake.
If it is, then hey, you know what? My bad.
Jake just threw out like a random string of whatever the fuck that would be, 9 numbers, and
Yep.
now we're going to jail.
That
So
fucking end
job.
of Zone 32, end of spinoff Zone 32.
probably
BC
some
and
like
Will get to take over.
probably some like 90-year-old guy in Iowa just minding his own business. He'd be like, "Why the fuck this guy say my social security number out loud on?"
Hey, you never know. Could be a dead voter. Could
Yeah,
be a
could be.
dead voter.
So January 6th, inside job or real, people like Grant just going wild at the Capitol.
Feds. That was feds. And then a couple people who decided to get rowdy and be like, "Oh, sure, I'll take the guy to tour the Capitol. Hey, AOC, can I see your tits? No. All right, fine. I'm gonna sit over here in Congress." That
What was Greg
January
Roman's
6th.
involvement in January 6th?
Oh, he was the direct operative who coordinated the date with the feds. He was
'Cause
the
I
direct
feel like
go-to guy.
If you look at a Greg Roman offense, right, they're great in between the 20s, so they're really good at getting in the red zone, and then he couldn't figure out how to actually punch the ball in.
Exactly.
The January 6th people were great at getting into the Capitol, but once they got in there, it just didn't really do anything. So
Yep, didn't know what they were doing, so they lost all cohesion and trains of thought.
So when the
Well,
FBI hears this, because I'm sure that they're listening right now because they have like YouTube tapped for, when you say January 6th, it pops up on somebody's feed. Investigate
Yep.
Greg Roman.
Investigate Greg Roman.
He's got a house in Owings Mills, Maryland.
He has a toy store. He goes under an alias named Big Al. Big Al's Toy Barn. That is Greg Roman. Although I don't care if he's investigated now, because if Greg Roman calls a shitty offense for the LA Chargers, who's really going to care?
Jake, he took 4 years of your life away. You had to watch that guy call football plays for 4 years.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that anymore.
I'm still mad.
That's understandable. I don't blame you, but that being said, he doesn't do that today. He does that to the LA Chargers.
All right, that's fair.
And because they don't have fans, there are no Chargers fans in existence. Anyone who tells you they're a Chargers fan, they're fucking lying. They're being paid by the Spanos family. They are paid actors. That's why they moved to Hollywood, because they have more access to basically broke ass actors who can't find their way and didn't suck the right dick. So now they're pretending to be Chargers fans.
I'm leaving a comment on screen because I saw Grant's facial reaction to me putting it up. I was wondering if you'd like to discuss, Grant.
I have no clue. Oh man, Greg Roman. Yeah, my identical
Roman.
twin. We're both built like the Mucinex man.
I mean, to
Not
be
to
fair, I did a podcast with Grant for 3 years. I'd been in Baltimore multiple times before that, and then all of a sudden Greg Roman leaves, and that's the first time I see Grant in public. So, Naldo's making some points here that we may have to discuss further.
The only thing is, we have yet to see Grant dye his beard dark brown or black. That's the only thing. He didn't shave into a goatee yet. So if that was the case, then
just from Mangel's coming, and somebody left a note on my doorstep, and I don't know why.
I
don't know. I'm
they're
just
on
saying,
this.
Grant's red beard is very obvious to the public, so I could definitely see him, in a disguise trying to dye it black. So, Naldo has some points here. I feel like we may have to do some further investigations on that.
Like on Bad Boys movie, what was it, Midnight Cocoa Bean?
Yeah, I mean that I could definitely see you dyeing a goatee black to try to blend in with God knows what. And I would trust you more as an offensive coordinator than Greg Roman. So feel like you definitely might be Greg Roman. That's a pretty good one to bring up. I know Jake loves the jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
Fucking right, does it?
Who melted the steel beams then, Jake?
Some pissed off Muslims. They melted the steel beams.
Oh, with what?
Dynamite.
Oh, how'd they get the dynamite in there?
They came in there and said, "Hey, we're opening multiple gas stations inside of your not gas stations, convenience stores inside of your building. We need to come in and deliver these packages to certain places." That's what happened.
So we need to enter your elevator.
Actually, no. I lied. It was not pissed off Muslims. It was terror sore.
So
if you recall Beast Wars, Transformers, the pterodactyl turned in from a pterodactyl, and instead of a robot, he turned into an airplane and crashed straight into the Twin Towers. That's what he did. He went,
it was foreshadowed by a children's show, is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. Beast Wars forecast that 6 years prior to 9/11. That's what happened.
All right, I feel like we have to end on a good one here.
I got you. Taylor Swift is a succubus. If you recall the succubus from that episode of South Park that tried to marry Chef, Taylor Swift is indeed a succubus. This is her actual state. Her name is Marina some bullshit, and she does occult rituals, and she's currently sucking the life out of Travis Kelce because he sold his soul to the devil.
Naldo wants us to comment on the flat Earth, which is the dumbest conspiracy of all time.
I don't care about that. The only thing, I don't care about.
Go away, Kyrie.
There's no edge of the earth. There's just we're going around and we ran out of gas, and now we're crashing into the ocean.
Yeah, somebody would have found it by now, although that's just a dumb question. We're having an intelligent debate here about conspiracy theories, not this stupid shit about flat Earth, asshole.
Right. Taylor Swift is a succubus from hell, currently sucking the life out of Travis Kelce and committing black devil voodoo magic to keep the Kansas City Chiefs relevant.
Yeah, she's also using the Chiefs to spread her message, so that's a bit concerning. Roger Goodell.
She is. Plus, the Chiefs are a blood red satanic team, so I mean, the signs are there. The signs are there. This is her in her natural state, inverted cross and everything, rolled eyes in the back of her head. This is her in the middle of the ritual, so all things considered. PSA on Taylor Swift.
The fact that you just own that shirt is the most on-brand thing of all time.
Of all time.
It's fucking right.
I honestly can't think of something more on-brand for Jake than that.
It's fucking right. And on the back it says Swift, 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 the number of the beast. That's her call to actually summon the devil. She goes,
the downside to this episode here, I just realized Jake can't die because he's in a public setting, and I feel like security would probably get called up to your room if you died down the street.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Unless I do like an inhale or something, where it's like.
Yeah. So we're just gonna have Max splice that. I'd rather you not.
That's what we'll do. But anyway, with all that's being said, and before the deep state discovers what I'm saying, that's going to do it for this week. We will be back to discuss this, that, and the other. But meanwhile, it's time for me to die.
See ya.
I almost want to keep the stream on just to see if they show up. See ya.